I've liked Red Hood. With the Dark Trinity, as they're called, with Artemis and Bizarro. I've liked that, because he's more. It's like he's taken on more of the Gotham underworld, like they took on Black Mask and things like that.
I think that last issue of Detective would be the perfect. If I knew a kid that really liked Batman and really wanted to get into reading Batman comics, I think if you wanted to get a kid that really liked Batman, get him that last issue of Detective where you had the entire Bat family versus future Tim Drake Batman. And I think it was over 2 books. It was like right after Tim Drake broke out of Mr. Oz's place and they came back to the regular time. From that point on, and then that last issue where you had Batman and the boys in the fighter jets, like strafing the Belfry while Batwoman and Nightwing and young Tim Drake were all fighting the Tim Drake Batman in the Belfry. And I was like, that was just cool. I mean, that had like every member of the Bat family in it. I was like, if you want to get a kid into reading Batman and into the Bat family, I think it's like 986. I think that's the issue you have to get.
Well, let's go ahead. Before we get in, since we've been talking a lot of comics, we're going to continue that. But before we get to this week's DC books that we got, and boy, did we get a good one, I do want to tell everybody right now, if you're listening to this, I want you to take some time. Please go over to our YouTube channel. Just search Nerd Rage Renegades on YouTube because we have dropped another commentary track this week.
Yeah, I listened to it probably 2 hours ago, and it's pretty good.
So we have dropped Psychotronic Man from 1979. So make sure you go over there. All the directions are in there of how you sync it up with the movie. I will put the link to the movie in the description of the video, and just give us a listen, give us a thumbs up on that if you like it.
Some people have been watching the Bigfoot one.
Yeah.
I've seen the numbers are going up on that. People are watching it.
We work very hard on those commentary tracks, and a lot of them, it's some we're like the first 2, Bigfoot and Gargoyles, Chief and I had seen before, so we were ready. We knew we knew the good stuff.
Yeah.
Chief had seen Psychotronic Man, I hadn't, so you got that little bit of spontaneity. And then next week you're gonna have all spontaneity because it's a movie that Chief and I had only seen a review of. We'd never seen the whole movie.
Oh, yeah, I didn't realize you hadn't seen it all before. That was the first time I saw it.
I only saw the review. So next week we will have for you The Time Machine I Found at a Yard Sale. And let me just tell you,
that's a hard movie to watch, I'm telling you. But you might like it better with our comments on it. You don't want to watch it cold.
If you want to hear Chief and I fall into the abyss, the dark abyss of madness, this is going to be the movie for you. And then in 2 weeks we are going to have for you Bullet to the Head with "What's your message to know? Hey, how you going, Chief?"
You're on pub rock.
So once again, go over to YouTube channel, check that out. But let's go ahead and hit that spoiler alert because we got to talk about some Batman, the Batman Who Laughs.
Yes, indeed.
All right, Chief, we finally got it. The last of the Dark Knight's books. We got the last.
Yeah, isn't the Wild, like there's another one? I thought there was in the last one, like isn't it like Wild Hunt or something like?
There's Wild Hunt, but that's not an origin of one of the Dark Knights. This was the final of the Dark Knights.
But it's a one shot though, right? It's another one shot connected to this.
Yeah, it's another one shot. But we finally got. So let's mark it down. Let's run it down. We got the Red Death.
Red Death was the Flash.
We got the Dawnbreaker.
Is it Green Lantern, Dark Knight?
We got Murder Machine.
Cyborg.
We got the Drowned.
The Aquaman hybrid Batman. Bryce Wayne instead of Bruce Wayne.
We got the Merciless.
That was the Ares one, right?
Yep.
Ares Wonder Woman.
And then we got the Devastator.
And Devastator is Doomsday Batman.
Well, now we get the Batman Who Laughs, the leader of the Dark Knights. And if I have to say this, it does seem like every single one of these Dark Knights, like every issue, the thing that Bruce or Bryce or whoever did to become this incarnation has gotten more and more brutal. And man, in my opinion, we got the most brutal one with the Batman Who Laughs.
Yeah, I read tonight, I was looking at Twitter, and Scott Snyder even said this was the darkest Batman story he's been involved with.
Yeah.
So it's pretty hardcore stuff, man. What he does to Superman's family is just, oh my God.
So it starts off, we got Batman and Joker. And Joker has pretty much gassed Gotham.
Yeah,
Everybody
well, and
else.
then he's lining up children with their parents to shoot in front of Batman.
Yeah.
While Batman is helplessly paralyzed from like a muscle relaxer that he gave him.
So this actually goes to the point where Batman has to do he has to break his number one rule.
Yeah, or everyone dies.
Or everyone dies. In this issue, Batman kills the Joker.
Yeah. You also keep in mind that this is a failed universe that's already crumbling. It's not the actual continuity of Earth Prime or Earth Zero or whatever the hell we're calling it.
The Earth of Captain Carrot? No. But, so he kills Joker. And then he brings in the Bat family. He brings in Batgirl, Jason. He brings in Nightwing. He brings in Tim Drake to train. And the hardest training they said that he's ever put them through.
Oh, well, right before that, you get Superman and him looking at the Joker gassed a bunch of kids.
Yeah.
And they had become these little Joker goblin-y little weird creatures. And Superman, they were trying to find a cure for it. They didn't think they'd ever be able to cure him. But Superman was saying he's going to take on their care personally because they need someone they can't hurt. Because he said a nurse tried to bring in their food or something and they tried to bite her throat out.
Yeah.
And Batman like laughs at that. And he starts to laugh and then he's like, "Oh, sorry, that wasn't funny." So you start to see the effects of what happened to him take place right then. But it's a little clue.
Yeah, it's a little clue to what comes. So so Nightwing and all of them, they're talking about how hard this training is, and they kind of realize that Bruce is not training them to fight villains. He's training them to fight him.
Yeah.
And they confront Bruce on that, but Bruce basically tells them that wasn't the case either.
No, yeah, that's not what he was doing. He's wearing them out.
He's wearing them out, and then from underneath the cape, he pulls out 2 freaking Tommy guns and shoots the entire Bat family. Except for Damian. Damian was not there.
Because he says they're the only... He said, I didn't bring you here to train you to stop me. I brought you here because you're the only ones who can stop me.
Yeah. See, he explains when the Joker died, the Joker in his body had this Joker chemical in his body that would transfer to the person closest to him in the event of his death, knowing that it would be Batman. So Batman is intoxicated with this chemical of the Joker's and is basically becoming the Joker.
Yeah.
But a Joker Bruce Wayne hybrid. So all the maniac, crazy psychopath of the Joker with the genius detective skills of Bruce Wayne.
Yeah, well, we should say the whole time it's the Batman Who Laughs that's narrating the story.
Yeah.
And he's got a guy bandaged up and tied to a chair in front of him across a table.
And we don't know who this is.
We don't know who that is yet. But he goes on this thing, and it actually makes a lot of weirdly dark sense when he's talking about you have the king in a deck of cards, which is the most powerful character.
Of the face cards, yeah.
Of the face cards. And then you have the Joker, who's like more ambiguous. The Joker can be used to modify either... It's used as a modifier and modifies things. It can be powerful or not powerful. It's kind of an ambiguous card, but when put together
with the king,
it's unstoppable. So, and that's kind of his analogy how the Joker and Bruce Wayne melded and why they needed to.
So he kills the whole Bat family, and then Clark shows up.
Yeah, he goes to the Watchtower, I think, because Wonder Woman's dead.
Oh, yeah,
everybody's dead.
He killed all of them, and he has Damian with him. He has Damian.
Yeah, he's twisted Damian into some kind of weird-looking scarecrow demon thing.
And he even mentions that Damian, because Superman looks at him and says, "What did you do to your son?" And he tells him, "I didn't do anything. He did this to himself. He wanted to do this.
He volunteered because he wants to impress Bruce Wayne."
Yeah. So he's killed all the Justice League. All the Justice League is dead except for Superman. And
the cool thing he says too is he said, "I was walking through here the other day and I realized just how many Doomsday weapons we have."
Yeah. And it comes to find out that not only were the Justice League on the Watchtower, but Lois and Jonathan Kent were also on the Watchtower.
Yeah. And he's got them under a red sunbeam, so they're powerless. He's got a red sun projector on Jonathan and Clark, and their eyes are bleeding even. They've got no powers, and they're just weak and helpless.
And Clark he's basically of the mindset that Bruce is going to kill his family. Bruce is going to kill Lois and Jonathan, but oh no. No, that's not.
No, well, he tells him, tell your family it's going to be all right, and Clark's even hopeless at that point. He says, I'm not going to lie to my family for you, because he knows they're all going to die. At
which point, the Batman Who Laughs pulls out red kryptonite.
Black kryptonite.
Oh, black kryptonite.
It's a special, he modified a strand of black kryptonite, and he said he tested it on Supergirl, and she tore apart her own family before she killed herself.
Yeah.
And then he just says, here, catch, and tosses it to Clark.
At which point, off screen, but you can get the gist, Superman kills his own family and then himself.
Tears him apart and then commits suicide.
And the
fucking horrible.
Oh, it's horrible. The darkest. That is the darkest, because he made Superman kill his own wife and child.
It's brilliant though, man. It's just fucking so good. I just don't. The thing with Bendis, I don't know about, but I hope they continue on this path of brilliance through Rebirth and Metal and Doomsday Clock.
So the next sight you see is the Batman Who Laughs on a throne of skulls in a desolate wasteland, and that's when Barbados comes up.
That's his world. The universe is starting. The universe he's in is beginning to crumble. He always comes with the end of these universes that are failing.
And that leads us to him with the bandaged guy, and then taking him off to some place. And that's the end of the issue.
I'm wondering who that's going to be. I'm not. I was trying to think. Did I miss something here? Am I missing?
It's not going to be like Forever Evil, where it was like Alexander Luthor or something like that. Right?
Yeah, it's going to be. This is the thing everything they've done with Metal and all these one shots. For the first time in a big event that I've read in probably 5 or 6 years anyway, every tie-in that I've read has been really important to this. It's not like these frivolous tie-ins that just they stamp Metal on it and it really has nothing to do with it. All the ones that are specifically tied into this really have to do with it, and you need to read them.
You know what? I just had a thought. Go with me on this. Tell me if I'm crazy. The guy in the bandages. What if it's Carter Hall?
That'd make a lot of sense. Actually,
right?
I was thinking myself, in the back of my mind, I was thinking it might be the real Bruce Wayne.
Right.
And because they're all Bruce Wayne, and he's talking about how he's even telling this guy how they're all Bruce Wayne, in one way or another. And, so I was thinking it might be Bruce Wayne, because they weren't trying to get Bruce to the Dark Multiverse to be the Battery. They brought Bruce to the Dark Multiverse to lure Clark to be the Battery.
Right.
So Bruce isn't on the tower with Clark anymore, I don't think. I think Bruce is all fucked up and sitting in that chair right in front of the Batman Who Laughs.
Well, I don't know, because we know from Batman Lost that he's been in the grips with Barbados. So Barbados may have Bruce close to him. And at the end, we saw in the eyes...
Well, Carter Hall, if that's the case, then yes, Carter Hall makes a lot of sense.
And that's what I'm thinking, is because Carter Hall, I mean, you think about it, at the beginning of Metal, it was very, the whole story of the Hawkmen.
And then the Journal of Carter Hall was buried in Wayne Manor under the floorboards before it was built. So, I mean, it's been there forever.
But what if that is Carter Hall... Because to me, that makes a little more sense, because his face is bandaged. If it was Bruce, I think they would have just said he's talking to Bruce. But with Carter Hall, knowing that Hawkman is supposedly dead, but we know he's coming back, that makes more sense to me that it's Carter Hall, and that they've been keeping him because he's the bird. He is the bird against the bat.
And we know it's not Hawkwoman, because she's cut her wings off and she's living as a normal human now.
Yeah.
But, did they say specifically where they were? Were they in the regular DC universe at